Isaac's day in the conference. 3 topics that he
Wow.
has picked up.
Yes.
We
Yes.
have,
How lucky I am to have 3 topics and a whole day is dedicated to me. So
yeah,
I'm a happy child.
yeah. Let me. Oh, okay, that was what you said. That was really nice. When you said message on Father's Day, I was really happy. I've been telling people about that. That was
Oh, okay,
so
great, great,
nice to
great,
see that.
great, great.
Okay, so
Yeah,
what we've done
thank
is
you.
mediation as a career done, legal framework of mediation done. Today, now we're
Yeah,
going to talk about mediation in the African Continental Free Trade
yes,
Area,
after. Yeah.
AfCTA. So before that, Nanchang is of course there, but we can't get him in because it's too noisy. So let's just go straight to what we have to do. Like every time, Isaac, now you know what to do. Here, please.
Okay, it's good afternoon here, good morning or good evening, wherever you find yourself. And thank you, Vikram, for having me once again on this program. I'll be happy to talk about after this afternoon, as in Ghana, but other parts maybe
Why does your
later.
volume go down
So,
whenever you're talking about about the conference? Now
yes,
suddenly
talking
the
about the conference,
volume
yes.
goes down,
So,
is it? Your volume goes really down right then.
oh, is it better now?
It's better, better. Yeah.
Wow. Okay, so talking about a conference, a conference is about world mediators sharing their views about interesting topics or interesting field that they are find comfort in and they will find interest in talking about. I think the first session was done on 18th May, which was open session by Ken Cloke, and it was also his birthday, and also Mediator Vikram used it as a day to celebrate mediators around the world. And Mr. Ken came in to give the inaugural address. So this is in vision with Mediator Vikram wanting to make sure that mediation become the preferred choice within 2026. That anybody who thinks about a dispute solution mechanism will first think about mediation before any other mechanisms, and that is what why all of us and some of us who are young in mediation has taken it as an opportunity to also enhance our skills, learn from others around the world. There are lots and lots of materials of people sharing their experiences, talking about topics and other things that you can find on mediatorvikram.com, and read more, or go to his YouTube, Mediator Vikram, his Facebook page, Mediator Vikram. You can read a lot of information. So once again, Mediator Vikram, thank you for having me, and I'm glad to be here once again today. This is my third session, and I'm happy for that.
Thank you, Isaac, for being part of other events and shows also. So you've been on, of course, the symposium. You started from there, and then we did in conversation with a beautiful mind, and of course, we've had a lot of conversations. So really
Yeah.
nice. Now the only thing here is that there are now on the YouTube channel more than 320 videos.
Wow.
So now the point is, when are you going to find time to watch them? That's
Unless I take a vacation for videos only.
exactly. So now only thing what we are doing is we are also putting out an appeal to Victor. Victor, if you're watching, please join the Zoom session. That's what you want to tell him? Yes?
Yeah, 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 yes, yes,
Okay,
yes.
perfect. So Victor,
Yeah.
please join in. Isaac wants you
Yes,
here.
yes, Victor. If you are watching anywhere, I want you to hear so that we can have a discussion.
Great. So please,
Okay.
Isaac, you want to send me the slide or
The
start it?
slide it is continuation from the other one, so it's
Okay.
there. Or I can yes, you
No,
you
no,
can
perfect.
share from
I'll start. I'll start from here. Give me one
there. And then,
second.
okay.
Mm, Perfect. Yes, Isaac.
Okay, great. So this is the World Mediators Conference organized by Mediator Vikram, and this is a presentation by Isaac Asari. I am the Director of Program for Institute of Paralegal Training and Leadership Studies, IPLS Ghana for short.
Perfect.
So this afternoon, it's afternoon here in Ghana, it may be evening in India. We are discussing mediation in the African Continental Free Trade Area, which is a new kid on the block that Africa is trying to use to bring ourselves together and to make sure that we trade among ourselves, reduce barriers and remove certain restrictions and tariffs from our borders so that we the Africans can trade and benefit among ourselves. And that is what we're going to talk about, if the way they are doing mediation is in it and how it will be beneficial to the individual that will participate in this kind of trade. So
But
that is what we're going to
but how
discuss.
many countries are part of this? All of them?
For now, 50, all the 54 countries, we are 55, but 54 countries have signed, except with the exception of Eritrea, which is yet to sign the agreement. So all the other 54 countries have signed, but now 37 have rectified it for now. Okay, so the African Continental Free Trade is a free trade area founded in 2018 with trade commencing as of 1st January 2021. So this agreement, the initial nursing the idea started in 2012 when they went for their General Assembly in 2012, September 2012, and they nursed the idea. But when they decided to develop the concept, the protocols, and other things, so this was signed on in 2018 when they went for their conference in Kigali. So that is where it was signed. So it was created by the African Continental Free Trade Agreement among 54 out of the 55 African Union nations. So remaining Eritrea, which is yet to sign the agreement. Please let's move on. It was signed, as I mentioned earlier, in Kigali. So 44 countries signed from the beginning to begin the agreement. 54 signed to begin the agreement in Kigali on 21st March 2018. So that is where the agreement came into force. That on this day, 44 countries agreed to sign. So this is the AfCTA summary. So agreement establishing the AfCTA, so the protocol basically on trade in goods and protocol on trade in services, protocols on rules and procedures on the settlement of disputes, protocols on competition policy, protocols on intellectual property. So these are the thematic areas. So they are trading in goods and services. And if trade and services, definitely any business that you are doing, you find yourself with a dispute. So if there is a dispute, how do you resolve them? So they created a protocol to resolve such dispute. Then definitely there's going to be competition among the participating countries or states. Definitely, so you need to have a policy on competition, protocol, and also intellectual property. What constitutes a patent and all that. So intellectual property has to also come in. So then you look at the annexes, with schedule of the specifics, then commitment of individual country, then exemptions, then annex on air transport and all that, then protocol on investment. That one would be the second phase, first phase and second phase. Then the annexes, schedule of tariffs, concession, rules of origin, custom, cooperation and mutual administrative assistance, trade facilitation, transit and transit facilitation, technical barriers to trade, then sanitary and phytosanitary measures, non-tariff barriers and trade remedies. So basically, this is what a summary of what the AfCTA agreement, the African Continental Free Trade Area, talks about. So please let's move on into details. Yeah, so if we are creating an AfCTA or an agreement, what was the general objective behind this agreement? African wanted to create a single market for goods and services. So all the other things boils down to the creating a single market where all Africans can participate within their goods and their services.
Isaac, for 1 second, can I just go back to the previous slide? Just one
Okay.
second. I missed that. I was talking to Victor. I was telling him that Isaac is looking for your support on the session. So he thought it was on the 26th. Let's see. He'll try and come in. After that, I missed what you were saying here. Just broadly, can you just repeat what you were saying here, just a little bit?
Okay, so you want me to explain this
Yeah,
the summary again?
quickly. Exactly, just quickly.
Okay, right. So the I was saying that this is in summary. This is the how the agreement is in summary. When you take all the parts and put together, this is be the agreement. So the agreement specifically is talking about protocol. So the development of protocol on in trade in goods, then protocol on trade in services, then
Perfect.
protocol on rules and procedures
So
on the
this is what,
settlement of
yeah.
disputes.
So you're going to
So
be taking us through that. This is what you're going to be taking us through,
yes,
no?
so
Perfect,
the
perfect,
protocol on dispute solution, that is where and it's particularly where it mentions mediation, and
perfect,
that is where
perfect,
we'll look at. Yes.
perfect. So otherwise,
Yeah.
it's okay. Everything else is there. Yeah.
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 Okay, so we can go to the next one. Yes. So the specific objective uh, is to create a single market, goods and services. So the single market boils down to goods and services. Then to facilitate movement of persons, goods and services. Then achievement of the AU Agenda 2063. Then to also promote industrial development within Africa. If we are trading among ourselves, then we should be able to produce and be able to trade among ourselves. So and a host of other things that they want to do. So please let's move on. Yes, so the scope. What is the scope of AfCTA? AfCTA covers if you can go by, yes, AfCTA covers trade in goods, trade in services, investment, intellectual property, rights, and competition. So as I mentioned earlier, that the summary. So when you look at the scope, this is the scope of the AfCTA agreement. It covers on trade in goods, trade in services, investment, intellectual property, rights, and competition among themselves as African state nations. If they want to compete, there must be a policy guidelines. If you want to trade among yourself, there must be a policy. If you want to trade in services, there must be a policy. So this AfCTA agreement set out those policy guidelines, those protocols upon which trade in goods, trade in services, trade in investment, intellectual property rights, and competition will be done through. So please let's move on. Then if all these things has to be done, then definitely they will need a secretariat to operate the organization. So the General Assembly is responsible to, or the Assembly is responsible to decide on its nature, location, and approve. And I will not bore you with all the things that are
Yeah.
here. The basic thing is that there is a need for a secretariat of the commission to which will serve as to fully make the after operational, and to also it will have a place where all the agreement, all the services, or everything that they do will be centered on. And let me say that this office is also located in Ghana. So AfCTA has their head office in Ghana as and it is operational since 1st January 2021. So and that is what is happening. Yeah, so please let's move on. We can move on, yes. So the as for the funds and other things, so as I indicated there. So the decision making, yes, this is also very important issue to look when we are talking about dispute resolution or mediation and after. That decision making of the after institution on substantive issues shall be taken by consensual. And this is instructive to note that when it comes to after, everything that they have to do have to be on consensual basis, so consensus. Notwithstanding paragraph 1, the committee of the senior trade officials shall refer for consideration by the council of ministers matters on which it has failed to reach consensus. The council of ministers shall refer the matter to the assembly where consensus could not be
So,
reached.
so
So these are the
basically,
things.
yeah. So as this is also an opportunity for mediation, for
Yes.
mediators, role of mediators to
Yeah.
bring that
Yeah.
consensus. So that's an important
Yes.
area. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so please let's move on. Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah,
this is okay.
then decision on the question.
Yeah,
Yeah, question of the protocol, question of the procedures shall be taken by the simple majority of the state parties eligible to vote and other. Then another thing which is also important is that decision on whether or not a question is of the procedure shall also be determined by a simple majority of the state parties eligible voters to vote. Then abstention of by a state party eligible to vote shall not prevent the
that's
adoption
okay.
of the decision. So
Yeah,
this is makes the works of the after easy and simple. Then conflict and inconsistencies with the regional agreements. So definitely, Africa by regional blocks. When it comes to Africa, we have regional blocks. We have the West African, we have the South, we have the North. So they are blocks. Then the Central Africans, they are blocks, blocks, blocks. So when there is conflict or inconsistency with the regional agreements. So in the event of any such conflict and inconsistency between these agreements and any regional agreement, this agreement shall prevail to the extent of specific inconsistency except as otherwise provided in this agreement. So they are making provisions so that this will not conflict with maybe what ECOWAS is having as is in respect of West Africa. So if West Africa is having a different trade agreement which conflict with this one, then this one supersede what that one is. So please let's move on.
except otherwise provided in this agreement.
Yes,
Except otherwise provided. They can, in
yes,
this agreement, provide for that.
yeah. Okay, let's. So we can also move to the next part
Okay.
and
But
continue
this,
from
yeah,
there.
but this is also important that
Yeah, so this
they
is what it said. The two say that notwithstanding the provision of paragraph 1 of this article, state parties that are members of the other regional economic community, regional trading arrangement, and custom union, which have attained among themselves higher level of regional integration than under this agreement, shall maintain such higher level among themselves. So this
whatever
is
the
also
mean.
makes participating state to also be flexible. That because maybe you belong to this party, it does not stop you from maybe participating in this, and also the flexibility of maintaining your higher standard within other regional blocks too. So this is also makes it
Yeah.
flexible for participating
Yeah.
in a state.
This is where we have to have, because high level of the integration that they had, this high level of
Yeah, so then we come
regional
to
integration we don't have.
where,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
yeah, okay. Then we come to where our discussion will mostly centered on, which is the Article 20 of the agreement. So the Article 20 of the agreement talks about dispute settlement. So the dispute settlement one talks about a dispute settlement mechanism is hereby established and shall apply to the settlement of the dispute arising between state parties. So let me emphasize here is that what we should emphasize here is that when it comes to the after agreement, the after removes individual players like normal traders doing their work, normal service providers. So they are looking at this dispute solution is about state to state resolution. Then two, the dispute settlement mechanism shall be administered in accordance with the protocol on rules and procedures on the settlement of disputes. So when this provision was made, they went ahead to make rules and procedures on settlement of disputes under the AfCTA, which we will look at what uh, when it comes to mediation, what should be done as we move on with this presentation. So please let's move on.
Dispute settlement body.
Yes. So the protocol on rules and procedures on the settlement of dispute shall be established entirely. So other things, a dispute settlement body. So it has established a dispute settlement body which will govern the process. So if you look at the protocol on rules governing the dispute settlement, when you look at Article 8 of that, it talks about good office, conciliation, and mediation, and that is where my interest is. And if you look at one, it states that state parties to a dispute may at any time voluntarily undertake good office, conciliation, or mediation. Proceedings that involve good office, conciliation, or mediation shall be confidential and be without prejudice to the rights of the state parties in any other proceedings. So it has made provision for mediation, conciliation, and good office, which our interest is mediation and AfCTA. So state parties who is having issues with other states can also initiate a mediation process at any time voluntarily so that they can use that process to resolve their matter. So this one is about state to state. So if you are individual within the within the state and you have issue with an individual in the other country, you have to go under your state. Then two, good office conciliation or mediation may be requested at any time by any state party to a dispute. They may begin at any time and be terminated at any time by any of the states to the dispute. Once procedure for good office conciliation or mediation are terminated, a complaining party may then proceed with a request for the establishment of a panel. So this panel is under the dispute settlement body. So mediation and conciliation and good office is one of them. So if those measures fails, then they resort back to the original processes whereby they are supposed to have panels to sit on the matter and determine the outcome of the issue. Yeah, please let's move on. Then when good office, conciliation, and mediation are entered into after the date of receipt of a request for consultation, the complaining party must allow for a period of 60 days after the date of the receipt of the request for consultation before requesting the establishment of a panel. So if you have even gone through mediation or conciliation or good office and it doesn't work, you must as well wait for 60 days before for the panel, for the office or the dispute settlement body to do consultation before a panel can be put in place for you. Then the complaining party may request for the establishment of a panel during the 60 days period if the state parties to the dispute jointly consider that the good office, conciliation, or mediation process have failed to settle the matter. So this one you will see that the consensus is also playing out here again, that if the two state parties also consent to the process that indeed the good office, mediation, or any other thing have not been able to resolve the matter, then they can complain to the dispute settlement body to set the panel to look into that matter.
But Isaac, Victor has heard your request. He's here. Hi, Victor.
Okay.
Hello to you, Vikram, and to you, Isaac, as well. My apologies.
Thank you for joining
before
us.
I speak, thank you. Before I speak further, I just wanted to say that I have a bone of contention with Isaac, and I'm glad that we have a mediator, Vikram, here. What Isaac did was he dragged. So Isaac dragged me into a matter that is way, way beyond my pay grade.
That is the kind of confidence he has in you. That is how much he trusts you. This is where it all begins. So basically, Isaac has taken us through the basics, that there is a provision that voluntarily they can go for mediation, conciliation, that part of it. And if they do not, then they settle, the panel can be formed, and that part. So we're on that part right now, which is, yes, Isaac, should we move on?
Yes, let's move on. Yes.
Yep.
Yes, so when you look at the four says that the state parties participating in the proceedings under this article may suspend or terminate those proceedings at any time if they consider that the good office, conciliation, or mediation has failed to settle their disputes. So we are still looking at the mediation, conciliation, and good office being voluntary process whereby parties can terminate it at any time if they consider that the process has not resulted or has not helped them to achieve
but
their
I thought that
their
has
aim.
already happened earlier. I thought that had already happened here. Now we've gone into the panel.
Yes, they are still explaining further, so you can go. You see another term there.
Perfect. So this we've done this. Yep.
Yes. So then this is the fourth one. Yes. So that is the explanation. So there's fifth one. You go to the 5.
Yep.
Yes. So if a state party to a dispute agrees that the procedure for good office mediation or may continue while the panel also the process proceeds. So they are also given a leeway whereby one person can complain that to the panel and the panel process can start. Still, you can also continue with the good office mediation and the mediation process as well. So the panel process can be going on whilst you continue with your other process as
But the
well.
process
So
of good offices, you will also tell us if there is what is the process if they put down for good offices. That is, I'd be
yeah,
interested
so
to see.
when it comes to good office, the good office is about using diplomatic means to settle the dispute between the two states,
Just
whether through
negotiate
their
between themselves. They don't get a
yes.
mediator. They
So
just negotiate
yeah,
between themselves.
yeah, it's about negotiation,
Mm.
diplomacy, where the two states will meet and discuss the matter. If they are able to resolve, then it ends there. If they are not able to resolve, that is where the panel comes in to assist.
Perfect.
Then the head of the secretariat may be requested by any state party to a dispute to facilitate the process of good office, conciliation, or mediation, including offering the same. So the head of the secretariat, the secretary general, can also be requested by the state party to serve as a mediator or a conciliator or to lead the good office. So it is also instructive to know that as um, a head of the secretariat must also understand how mediation is conducted, how conciliation is conducted, and how good office is also conducted. And these are skills that they can be called upon at any given point in time. So this is also something to note when it comes to mediation under the AfCTA. So the Secretary General can also act as a mediator looking at this provision. So such a request shall be notified to the dispute settlement body and the secretariat. So you only need to inform the dispute settlement body and the secretariat that there's this issue and we want the secretary general to act as a mediator or conciliator or as a person to lead the good office for us. Yes, please, the next one.
This one? Wonderful
Yes,
agreement. Yes.
yes. So AfCTA is a wonderful agreement which recognizes mediation for dispute solution among state to state. Yes, so please let's have the next one. So it allows for mediation for state to state. So if I am Nigeria, a dispute between Nigeria and Ghana, they can have mediation. They can do mediation to resolve that. However, the agreement failed to recognize players, that is the traders, service providers, private mediators, and dispute solution among non-state actors. Because if you are saying that you are making provision for state to state, then again, I feel that the players, because it's not the state alone that is going to trade among themselves, there will be players within the industry who are going to trade from state to state, and you must make a provision for them so that they will be able to resolve dispute. They can also make use of other services within the dispute settlement body so that they themselves will not necessarily go behind their countries or their states to resolve their matter, which may take a longer period or delay, or even because of the bureaucracies in the system. And I think that AfCTA is a great initiative, and I think that that side should be looked at again so that the parties who are players in the industry, like the traders, the service provider, and those who are non-state actors, can also have a platform to resolve their matter. And that this is
So
the
basically,
end of the
so what
provision.
you're saying is
Yeah.
that they should have provided that there should be a mediation clause in their agreements when these people have contracts with each other. They should have that option.
Yes. So
Something
that
like that.
the individuals who have contract among themselves or who are the service providers, so that they can also do mediation rather than going behind your state to do the mediation.
So, but for that also the important thing is how to finally enforce that settlement agreement. So the legal framework within those countries also needs to be definitely looked at. So so now Victor is going to come in, and his expert opinion is required. Victor, please. But Victor, you quickly have to also tell us about yourself.
Thank you. My name is Victor Baba Emmanuel Aligo, and I wear a different hat. I'm a minister of the gospel. I am a mediator and a lawyer as well, but today I'll be wearing my hat as a mediator, and I'm really happy to be here. Thank you so much, Mediator Vikram.
Thank you for being with us. Always a pleasure having you, Victor. So what do you have to say about the AfCTA? Victor, right at the right time, he is frozen. So I think, Isaac, up till Victor comes back, you want to take us further? You also have a problem.
So the full agreement.
Nanjang is also there. He's still logged in.
Of course, I'm here. It's just that I needed to get to the office first.
Yeah, okay. Because otherwise it gets a little noisy. Whenever you get there, I'll mute you right now because it's a little disturbing.
Yes.
So
Isaac, what are you saying? You're showing us this?
Yeah. So this is the agreement. This is the full agreement.
Perfect. Now, basically, on anything on that mediation aspect of it, anything further has been discussed in their meetings or anything?
No, none that I know of, because I've seen them talking more about how they should trade among themselves and all that. But I think when it comes to the dispute settlement bit, when it comes to mediation, a lot of discussion have no. I know that some practitioners also met them to discuss some work with them on how they can help to resolve some of the matters that will come under the AfCTA. But my issue has to do with, as I mentioned earlier, when you are doing certain things and you centered everything on the state, the players suffer because you are creating an environment for people to trade freely and move freely and do things. So when they have issues and they have to go behind their state before they can have their issues resolved, and that is the challenge I have with the agreement. Yeah.
Perfect. So now Victor's back with us. Yes, Victor. I think the agreement also has to take care of internet connectivity in Africa.
Thank you. Well, if you look at the document, it's a
What I'll do is, I'll tell you, Victor, what I'll do is...
You are perfectly right, you have this amazing sense of... Hello, Mediator Vikram.
Yes, Victor.
I keep on saying that you have this amazing sense of humor, and once in a while you...
What I'll do is, I'll tell you what I'm doing, Victor, I'm shutting your video, because I think the connectivity is not good enough for the video. So I've shut the video. Now I think it'll be better. Yeah, Victor, please.
Okay, thank you. The agreement it's a gigantic step for the African continent from a trade investment perspective, because this is novel in the sense that the agreement tries to promote intra-trade in Africa, Africans trading amongst themselves. And that is something that is good. I mean, if you go to Asia, Asians, trade amongst Asians. You go to Europe, the European Union, and so on and so to speak. And the agreement has been lauded as one of the biggest things in Africa because of the fact that it's going to create one of the biggest trading blocks in the continent. But that's besides the point. Today, we are here to talk about mediation. And just as Isaac has walked us through the slides, there are a number of things that I see in the document. And one of the things is that we don't have one standardized kind of a framework for mediation, because different countries in Africa have different models on pieces of legislation on mediation. For instance, you go to Ghana, and I've had the opportunity of looking into the Ghanaian piece of legislation on mediation, and it's very vibrant, it's very robust, and crystal clear on what mediation is all about. Now come to Kenya, where I am based right now. Kenya is still working on a document that should be somewhere in Parliament. I don't know what stage they have developed it to, but still we don't have a piece of legislation on mediation. So already that tells you that definitely there are going to be gaps and bottlenecks here and there between one state and another state. And I'm really glad that earlier on Isaac spoke about state-to-state mediation, which is very important. But the thing is that we don't have an elaborate structure. We don't have an institution in Africa that, in the event of a dispute arising between two states or parties from two different states, they can go to and have their matter resolved through mediation. So these are some of the bottlenecks or some of the shortcomings that we see in the document. And I think this goes back to the architects of the document. What do they have in mind? So these are questions that, these are legal questions that at some point, the big boys will have to be called, the big boys and big girls will have to be called and told to shed some light on that. That's my few cents on the document.
What do you say, Isaac? Because I think the main thing is the legal framework definitely needs to be done, but also maybe under the agreement, are they looking at whether they can promote a kind of a uniform dispute resolution aspect in relation to mediation? Do you think they can do that?
Yes, I think that is a good point from Victor, because if you are mentioning mediation, conciliation, good office, how should the process be done? And you have not elaborated on which rule should govern such mediation process or conciliation process. And I think
your mic has moved away. Your mic has moved away from your mouth, Isaac. Get a little
okay,
closer.
is it better?
Yes, much better.
Yes, I think if you look at International Chamber of Commerce, for instance, they have a certain rule for mediation. So they have their own rules for mediation. And if you are after and you are setting up a mediation, a dispute a settlement body, then definitely not only the protocol, after the protocol, you must go a step further in establishing the rules, developing the rules to govern each process. So if it is a mediation process, what is the rule? What is the after rule on mediation? If it is arbitration, what is after rule on arbitration? We can be using, maybe there is a thought that maybe there is practice how the people are doing arbitration, but you have given clear guidelines on how your panel, when the dispute happens and it is reported to the panel, how things should be done. The same way, when you are giving room for mediation, You must create a rule for that. This is how mediation should be conducted. This is how conciliation should be conducted. And I think that has been the major defect when it comes. Maybe we don't know what is behind the minds of the framers, what went into their mind in coming up with this. Maybe they have a specific objective. And it's been talking about state to state, as Victor mentioned, which is a great step, a great thing to do. But you look at the state does not work on its own. Definitely, you're going to need the work of the players, the industry players, the people who are going to make sure that this agreement comes into effect. So if those people are not taken care of, and there is nothing to govern whatever that they can do, and you are saying that if I have an issue to resolve, I must go behind my state, or it is my state that can address the issue. You all know the bureaucracies in the system when it comes to state dispute resolution and involving a third party who is non-state actor. Then there's going to be a challenge with the players. So I think there must be a clear guidelines on the players. How do they get their issues resolved? If they have if I'm in Ghana and I have a contract with somebody in Nigeria, how should that issue be resolved? There must be a guideline. If it is mediation, there is a guideline. Enforceability. When it comes, are we going under the Singapore Convention when it comes to mediation, so that we know that AfCTA is under the Singapore Convention? So any mediation that is done under AfCTA, it means that it is binding on all the countries that have signed under, and it is the same in all the countries. And that one will be clear that if we are using the Singapore Convention, we are using it. If we are all agreeing that the Singapore Convention should prevail when it comes to mediation, then every state will know that yeah, the Singapore Convention.
So basically, the thing is that the first step is available. All the countries can sign the Singapore Convention and ratify it. That option then by itself opens up the door for enforcement.
Come again. I didn't hear what you said.
I said that the option is available now that all the countries can sign the Singapore Convention and ratify it. So obviously then immediately that framework is available. But if they don't want to do that for any reason, they can create their own internal whatever the agreement, under the agreement they can do that. I mean, there should not be a problem. That finally the states will have to legislate on that. So, and if that process anyway starting, Nigeria has just done they've amended their act. Ghana definitely will move on to that because they've ratified they're going to ratify the Singapore Convention at some stage. Yes, Isaac, what do you say? Victor is going to come in. Victor?
You allude to very important points that touch on international law, because different countries have different laws when it comes to international law becoming part and parcel of their laws, for instance. And I'll speak on the Kenyan Constitution. The Kenyan Constitution contemplates that every international law is part and parcel of Kenyan law. That's irrespective of whether a legislation has been done to ratify the law at a local level. And exactly this is what we have here with the agreement on the African Continental Free Trade Agreement. By virtue of the fact that Kenya is part and parcel of the African Union, the document is deemed to be an annexure of the law in Kenya. But now the thing is, if you go to a different country, i.e. Tanzania, maybe whose laws are different, right? So there are multiple legal questions that arise here before actually we begin to talk about mediation. Because there are countries that have ratified the document, but beyond that, the document has to go through local legislation, which some countries have yet to do that. But when you come to Kenya, by virtue of the fact that the president or the representative of the government has signed on the document, at that point in time, it's part and parcel of the Kenyan law. So there are public international issues that are bound to arise here. And then number two, we are likely to have private international law issues. And at some point, Isaac touched about that. What happens when, for instance, Isaac, who is from Ghana, and myself, who is in Kenya, we enter into a contractual obligation, and I decide to not hold my end of the bargain? How do we go about mediation in such a scenario? Yep. These are some of the questions that at some point in time, I don't want to preempt, but maybe I will have a subsequent protocol on mediation or some of these legal frameworks that have been mentioned in the agreement.
Yeah, but the thing is, because I tell you, because between parties, private parties, the thing is that you can ask them to have a mediation clause in their agreements, but the problem is finally the enforceability. And if all the countries haven't created a framework for the enforceability of settlement agreements, that issue will always come up. So by putting that clause won't help anyone at this stage. So I think the framework has to be created in those countries. Then I think things move. So I think Victor and Isaac are going to take this up with all countries to legislate on this. First of all, either sign the Singapore Convention or ratify it, or create legislation to enforce African settlement agreements. Okay, let's not look at the world global ones, at least the African ones.
Yes, we can have, yes, it's possible to have African or after mediation rules, which is easy to have. I think they have enough experts to be able to develop that, and it is not something that they cannot do. So as I was saying earlier, because if you are saying, if I have issues under the AfCTA, I'm practicing under the AfCTA. So if I have issues with Vikram, who is in Togo, what do I do? What kind of mediation do we find our own rules and other things? These are the things that the agreement should have catered for, so that at the end of the day we are clear on what the people are doing. Definitely, and even enforcement. When we do mediation under AfCTA, is it enforceable within my state or which state? Because you have not clearly stated it that when I do mediation between two persons, it is enforceable here or there. You have only resorted to the state to state, and if it is only state to state, it becomes an issue for the individual players who are non-state actors. Yeah.
Can you imagine now what the opportunity we have? Victor and Isaac are going to go to all these countries and make a model law, give it to all of them, have them legislate on it.
Yeah.
There's so much work for both of you. And Nanjang is also there. Nanjang is also sitting there. So you guys are going to tour the entire African continent, pushing the aspect of, look, the important thing is to be able to put that model law together. So obviously we have the UNCITRAL model law available. And if Ghana is going to, of course, Ghana has picked up something from the earlier, not this particular model law, but the earlier one. And I think Nigeria has picked up some from this model law. So I think slowly, if there is some acceptability in some of the countries, I think this can go around. What do you say, Victor? When are you going to do the rounds?
We actually
he is going to run away. Victor's running away to Harvard. It is time for Africa.
That sounds more like, shuttle diplomacy. That's above our pay grade. At the end of the day, we have policymakers who are tasked with such kind of mandates. But definitely, there are lots of opportunities there in terms of having a common forum where Africans can have their issues or disputes mediated over, or even negotiation. This is not just for mediation. I mean, arbitration is such an important tool of alternative dispute resolution. And again, when we look at the document, it's, there are lots of shortcomings around that. So these are issues that over time, maybe policymakers need to discuss on that. But that said and done, actually, Isaac and I are part and parcel of a team that is trying to bring African minds together and see how we can navigate through some of the gray areas that are abundant in the document.
But Victor, are you taking Nanchang in that or not? Nanchang is, have you ever heard Nanchang speak? Have you heard him on the last thing that we had?
Yeah, I heard him speak passionately.
Very passionately. I mean, I am going to repeat that, show it everywhere. Exactly what I did it in the last session also with Isaac. I mean, that's the passion we need. He's like, because look, now the point is that the grassroots acceptability of mediation is where we have to start from, which is what I've understood. And with people like you out there, of course, Victor is trying to run away. We have to keep him here if we can. But
we have to keep you.
if we can, but then he's gone. Then he's going to be looking at the global perspective, and Africa will get lost out somewhere again.
Yeah.
Because I think finally all three of you
But
are
that's
going to
yes, but that's it. As Victor
have,
mentioned, we are planning something like that to have a discussion around this and
yes,
see
but
how
you
we
have
are
to.
able
What you have to
do
do
it.
is you have to wear t-shirts and you have to do the dance. Waka waka. It's time for Africa. So you have to do that. It's time for Africa and it's time for mediation. I think both the things will go together. So Nanchang, anything that you want to add to that?
Well, except that I'm happy to meet Victor.
You haven't met him before? You haven't met him before?
No.
Victor is an important player in the mediation world. So we have to know him. Yes, Victor?
I had his introduction. He says he's a lawyer, he's a pastor, he's a mediator. That's an interesting combination.
So Nanchang, anything on the agreement? The AfCTA thing, anything that you have looked at?
Just like Victor said, I think Isaac dragged me into this session. He's far above my level. let me align with him.
Okay, now the important thing is there is work for you to do. You have to sit with both of them and be part of their team, because your passion and Victor's direction and Isaac's enthusiasm will take things forward. So I think all the team is, all three are required for that. Or of course you'll be adding more people definitely, but I'm saying all three of you bring in such important aspects that I think we need all that together. What do you say, Victor?
Pardon?
I'm saying, what do you say? Your direction, giving the direction, Isaac's enthusiasm, Nanchang's the whole passion that he has, it makes good combination. So your team, I'm adding one more person to your team, Victor.
Who would that be?
Nanchang.
He's welcome. He's welcome.
Yeah.
He's welcome.
No, he's a hardworking guy. He's a hardworking guy, and he has the passion and enthusiasm. And only thing is, he's going to become a politician very fast with the speeches that he gives. He'll move away. So I think at this point, what I'll do is, first of all, we'll do a little closing. Victor will do it, and Nanchang and Isaac, it was your topic, so you'll have the last word. So Victor, do you want to just any kind of a closing kind of thing? Victor?
Thank you so much, Mediator Vikram. It's always wonderful to see you and to have a conversation with you. And I'm really glad that we are having young, vibrant Africans on board who are all interested in changing the continent. When you look at the African continent, like Isaac and my good friend from Nigeria, coming out so passionately, that tells me that Africa is on the right track. And I'm really glad that today, Mediator Vikram, you took an opportunity just to a spotlight on what's happening in Africa. And we are indebted to you for that. And thank you for having me.
No, thank you, Victor. It's always nice to have you. And I mean, you are going to be coming in for all other sessions also. So that's be very nice. So Nanchang, you want to just a little closing kind of thing you want to?
I will say thank you to you for giving us this opportunity and creating this avenue. First of all, it brings people together. I never knew Victor before, and then Isaac. You know, it is through this program that we're able to come together and then we get to know each other. And if there will be anything that will come out of this, it will be as a result of this conference. So I will say thank you to you. You are doing a good work. I pray that more and more will come. And then for the participants, Isaac has taken the whole day, you know, from the beginning to the end. And that's an interesting one. I want to appreciate him for the efforts, for the time, for the preparation to be able to keep this moving. For Victor, who was Mediator Vikram just brought him into the show. I also appreciate him for coming in at such a moment like this without any preparation. So thank you very much. We look forward to more sessions, more opportunity, and I will reach out to Victor. Let's see if there is anything we can do to see how this can move forward. Thank you.
And Nanchang, I'm looking forward from when you say that I'm doing good work to when you say you're doing excellent work. So I will keep my quality standards, get them better. One day you will say you're doing excellent work. I'll wait for that. So, as like he said, good work. He did not say excellent work. He didn't say great work. So I have lots to do. I have miles to go before I get Nanchang's approval. Yes, Isaac. So your closing remarks.
Okay, so thank you. Let me first of all say a big thank you to Vikram for this opportunity to have the whole day for 3 sections on this program. It's interesting and I'm really grateful. And it's also, let me say that Vikram is one of the persons that is fascinating to watch. Looking at the way he manages social media, do all of the stuff, planning on the time to go live, and all. It's really interesting and it is a good work that you are doing. We only ask God for more strength for you to keep on with a good work. Thank you so much for thank you to Victor for joining me. I drag you in. Sorry about that. Thank you for coming in. And Nanchan, thank you for also joining to keep the discussion going. I'm grateful to all of you. And let's make the world a peaceful place through mediation. I think we can do more, identifying the people with the right mindsets and also developing the system for the good of Africa, for the world, and for everybody. Thank you, Vikram, for having
Thank you
me
very
today.
much.
I'm
Thank
really
you very
grateful.
much. And we have everyone's now
Thank
a
you.
politician. No, but Nanchang, you were saying something. You were saying something.
Isaac didn't take the correction. You would have said Mediator Vikram was doing a great or excellent work. You went after what I said that he's doing a good work.
That's what I said. You have lowered my standards now. It used to be much higher with Isaac.
You know, when Mediator Vikram calls you,
Victor's saying something. Yeah, Victor.
You know, when Mediator Vikram calls you, you can't turn down his call. That's how wonderful he is.
Thank you, Victor. Thank you for taking the call. First of all, I'm sure you were in the middle of something, but Isaac was looking at you to be with him. So I said, you must be here. You should be here. So thank you very much, the three of you, and we'll definitely continue our conversation. There are lots to happen in Africa and everywhere.